Welcome to Our Hometown, the show where we explore the people and places that make our county unique. I'm your host, Jim McCallum. Today we welcome Brunswick Christian Recovery Center and talk about their wonderful center in Ash. Then I'll be joined by David and Kelly Morris, so stay tuned as we explore our hometown. My guests are from the Brunswick Christian Recovery Center. To my left, an old friend, Pastor Larry Shreve, and to his left, the director, Josh Torbish. Did I say your name right, Josh?
Torbich.
All right. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You have a great story to tell, and I want our viewers to get a really good feel for the lives that you guys and others are saving at your center. Larry, the program has been around 5 or 6 or 7 years, am I right?
7 years ago this month we opened our campus.
Tell us how you got started. Who had the idea and how you got up and running?
20-some years ago I took my son and another young man to a place called Hebron Colony. And while I was there that evening, a pastor stood up in the congregation and he said, "You men are not here to learn about the 12 steps. You're not here to learn about where to go, where not to go, but you're here to get your lives right with Jesus Christ. When you get your lives right with Jesus Christ, you won't have a drug problem." And when I heard that, I said, this is what I want to do one of these days. I want to have a place like this.
So it had been in the back of your mind for quite some time.
Quite some time. It took a long time to get here, but yes. And I carried that dream for several years. And then from the help of several people in this community who had the same heart I did, they help hurting people, drugs and alcohol, we came together for over a year, meeting once a week. And it took us over a year to get the campus open.
So we'll jump to the present time where you have a facility.
Yes.
You have men that spend weeks or several months at the facility.
Yes.
For drug abuse or alcohol abuse, am I right?
Both, any type of drug addiction, yes, sir.
Okay.
And we asked them to give it 3 months of their lives to come and live with us, to stay on the campus. And during those 3 months, we teach them about how to get sober through the power of Almighty God. And we're mostly proud to say of over 400 graduates.
Wow.
That most of them have been saved while they've been there. We baptize over 200 people in the ocean, and most of the guys, if they'll stay 3 months, they'll come to know Jesus. One of my favorite stories is this. We had a young man at the center, and after he was there about a week, he came in the office and told Josh and I, he said, "I want to leave." He said, "All I hear around here is about Jesus, Jesus this, Jesus that." And I said, "You know, we aren't going to apologize for that, because that's what we do here." But I said, you have a warm bed to sleep in, you have plenty of food, you're around people who love you, other people who have the same problem that you have. Why don't you stick it out for a while? Just stick it out for a while. And a few weeks later, he got saved. And today, he's got over a year clean now. He's in church about every time the doors are open, and his story is not that different from some others.
Well,
others.
And to repeat the number, I heard you say 400.
Over 400 graduates.
And
yes.
I'll get to Josh in a moment, but you have a lengthier staff than just the few of you. Is that right? Am I right?
Well, we have Josh has 2 assistants. Tyler's been with us, I guess, 18 months, Josh.
Yeah, close to 2 years.
And then Reed's has been with us
9 months.
9 months.
All right. You're a nonprofit.
We're a nonprofit, 501(c)(3) nonprofit.
And later in the telecast, I want to talk about how the public can assist you,
Yes.
Since nonprofits always need help.
Always, yes.
But one of the terms I saw on your website was servant leadership, and that's a term that strikes me right here as well.
Yes.
So let's talk, well, let me move to Josh. Josh, let's talk about servant leadership and what it means.
The most incredible thing is that there's so much recovery principle entwined with just a simple thought like that. A lot of people think of moving into a position where you no longer have the certain medial obligations that you've once had before. Well, that's not the mentality that we carry. I'll give you an example.
Right.
An example is that we go on fundraiser trips every year to help benefit the Recovery Center. Well, me and this fella here actually have been out there with our guys, working, doing the exact same jobs that they do on these fundraiser trips.
That's what servant leadership is all about.
Exactly.
From the bottom up.
And it comes into much bigger of a dynamic even when we're at the recovery center. We enjoy working with our hands on. We call it in the trenches. We'll look at each other and we'll laugh and say that's where we live. We live in the trenches, and it's a reality for us every day.
Yes.
You have a great story to tell yourself. Tell our viewers about your story.
I came to the recovery center about 4.5 years ago. I was born and raised in Johnson County, just south of Raleigh, and picked up my first drink of alcohol whenever I was 13 years old. I actually I experienced my first withdrawals from opiates, which was painkillers at the time, and alcohol when I was 16 years old. So before I made it out of high school, I already knew what a withdrawal would feel like. My addiction progressed. Before I knew it, I had become addicted to heroin. This is kind of right after coming out of high school. And I moved forward with my life doing the best that I could. Obviously, my parents had figured out that there was a problem by that time. And you know those old failed attempts, you call it like pulling yourself up from your bootstraps type of thing. Man, I'll tell you what, I've tried that. I financially hurt my parents with them trying to seek other places for me to try to get some help. Just desperately trying to, I'm the youngest of four, so you know, I'm the baby boy. The closest
Right.
sibling I have to me is 10 years older than I am.
I see, okay.
So I'm the youngest by a long shot, so they were just horrified by the fact that their baby boy had such a life-controlling thing. I actually was back to Johnson County, and I had fallen asleep at the wheel. I was high on heroin at the time, and I fell asleep behind the wheel. And I crossed over the center lane, and I hit an 18-wheeler head on. And I actually still carry scars on my arm and forehead from the accident. But after that, I had reached a point where I needed to try more of what you would call like a geographical change. So I moved up here to Wilmington.
Okay.
It was unbelievable how quickly I fell back into the same stuff, right? And I ended up turning everyone who loved me pretty much against me. And there was no one left to call to get some help. So when there's no one left to call, you are left victim to whatever free resources that you can find around you. There's a place in Wilmington called the Harbor, and I signed up there and went to a detox, a 7-day detox there to dry out. And then from there I found a safe house in Oakboro called the Bridge to Recovery. This was just a holding place for people who were waiting on a bed. I was waiting on a bed at Brunswick Christian Recovery Center, and the reason I picked it was so that I would have a quick shot back to Wilmington the day that I decided to leave.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here. That was 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And,
It's an inspiring story, and one our viewers can, so many of our viewers can relate to. You're the director.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect every day is different, but tell us about your job and what you do.
I handle too much of the behind the scenes stuff, you know, like Pastor Larry was saying, we like to be more hands-on with the stuff. But I enjoy spending time with the guys, counseling them, mentoring them, working on, it's very little about drugs and alcohol with them whenever they've reached us there. Right? They've been detoxed, they're not using every day, they're not on drugs and alcohol, but they still have a lot of pressure coming from a lot of circumstances that are in their life. Hurt families.
I want to clarify one thing. When they come to you, they've stopped using?
Yep, they're no longer on drugs. Each person who comes there has to be able to pass a drug test. We'll get them into a free detox center.
I see.
So they're already dried out. It's not like they're currently using drugs every day. They're currently drinking alcohol.
But they're at or near the bottom of their lives.
That's right. Yep.
Hopefully on the way up.
Hopefully on the way up.
Yeah.
That's what the goal is.
Yeah.
But I handle a lot of the financial things, a lot of the scheduling and the booking of the trips, a lot of the scheduling for like what the events the Recovery Center are doing. Of course, we do things for the community. Like we just actually did a project in Calabash with Wilmington Area Rebuilding Ministries, the Warm Project. We were just up at Brunswick Family Assistance helping them with one of their food drives. So we do a lot of events like that. So I do a lot of the scheduling and things of that nature.
Larry, the program is divided into two halves. Let's
Yes.
talk about that for a second.
Well, the first half is a minimum of 6 weeks in the program. And the first 6 weeks, we want people to come there and work on themselves. it takes almost 6 weeks before the brain starts to clear up a little bit.
I can understand that.
You're not even able to hardly function and think the first 6 weeks.
There's a fog.
There's a fog.
That has to lift.
Yes, and it takes several weeks for the fog to start lifting.
Sure.
So we tell the guys the first 6 weeks, we want you to concentrate on yourself, your problem. We don't want you to come there and try to fix somebody else or change the program. Then the second 6 weeks is more where we ask them to help us a little bit more. They're able to help the new people coming in. They're helping do lessons, and they become a senior, what we call it, John?
Senior resident.
Senior resident after the first 6 weeks. If they're doing good in the program, they have an obligation and an opportunity to do some leadership for us. I do want to mention that Josh had to wait 6 weeks to get in. And Josh, you're my #1 graduate. One thing I'm most proud of at Brunswick Christian Recovery Center is to see another resident called into the ministry. And Josh has been called into the ministry.
Yes.
He's preached it a lot. He's going around at different churches and presenting the program. I'm really proud of Josh.
Well, that's a perfect segue for my next question, because I have no doubt that there's a man watching this show,
Yes.
or more than a few, that want to know what they would need to do to get in touch with you or perhaps join your program.
Yes. It takes a phone call to Brunswick Christian Recovery Center, and that number is 287-HELP. 287-HELP.
Okay.
And that's where it all begins. And we're looking for people who are really wanting to change their lives. That's the #1 requirement. And after a while in talking to people, you can pretty well tell if somebody wants some help. So that's the #1 requirement. Money is not required. We don't charge 1 red cent to come to Brunswick Christian Recovery Center. I don't know of very many places it's free. And that one thing I'm proud of, well, as long as I'm involved, we'll not charge anybody. Now here's the hardest part of Josh's job and my job previously, and that's the 4 to 5 people that call every day. Every day, on average, 4 or 5 people we have to turn down. People that are begging for help. Parents that are calling.
Why are they turned
Children.
down?
Because we're full. We've been full for several years. We always have a waiting list. And we might get 15 or 20 calls a day about people inquiring about center. But I'm talking about people who are wanting to come to the center. Every day we have to turn that many down.
Okay, Larry, that causes me to ask this next question. You need resources.
Yes.
You need contributions, individual support from individuals. You need goods and products. Let's talk about that.
The #1 need we have right now is 10 to 20 acres of land so we can open up a new recovery center. And we want to double our capacity right now. We believe that God's going to work today, that somebody's going to hear this, that has a heart to help hurting people. Listen, Jim, there's people dying every day.
Absolutely.
There's people dying in Brunswick County. Every time you turn around, there's an overdose. And I believe somebody out there has the land that they want to give for God's glory, that they want to give to save lives. That's our #1 need. 10 to 20 acres of ground, we can build a new campus. And we need a place that has county or city water, public utilities there. And I'm just praying that somebody out there is going to hear this telecast today and give us a call. Then we'll have a major fundraiser, and we'll need a lot of money.
This show reaches a lot of people, and I hope
Yes.
so as well.
Yes.
Now, but you still need contributions. You have the need for food and those types of supplies.
Yeah,
Let's
we're
talk about
blessed with the food.
it. Okay, good.
But we always need money's the #1 thing, because some of our major expenses, of course, are our utilities and our insurance on our vehicles.
Sure.
So everybody needs some financial help.
It's a 501c3, but it's still a business that you
It's
have
still
to
a
run.
business, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You gentlemen, thank you. It's a great story that you have. You're saving lives one at a time, but each life is so precious, as we know.
So precious.
Larry Shreve and Josh Torbidge, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
My guests are Kelly and David Morris. They live at Holden Beach. They're with us today. Thanks for being with us, Kelly and David.
Thanks for having us.
Right. You have great stories to tell, and that's why I asked you to join us here today. But I want to talk a little bit about some of your backgrounds. David, tell me a little bit about yourself.
From Winston-Salem, grew up there, went to Reynolds High School, stayed there, went to Wake Forest as an undergraduate and then as a law student. Got away for a while to India and traveled around a bit. Came back to the United States and ended up at Covenant House for runaway and homeless kids in New York City and served as a staff attorney there for a little while. Ended up back at my old high school teaching government and economics and coaching basketball. Did that for 3 years and then took a little trip across the country, and it's just been kind of a crazy journey ever since.
Did you mention Bolivia?
I hadn't gotten to Bolivia yet.
As I just told our viewers, you have some great stories to tell, but please.
Bolivia came a little bit later.
Okay.
I met Kelly at a Halloween party in Baltimore, and it turns out that we were both from Winston-Salem, but did not know each other, although we knew a lot of the same people.
So you had to be in Baltimore to meet one another.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You studied for the priesthood also.
Yeah, I was in the seminary at the time, and I went to a little Halloween party, and Kelly was there, and the rest is her story, as they say.
Wow.
Yeah.
You also officiate local sporting events. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm a referee. I do basketball, soccer, and I do women's lacrosse on the college level. And it keeps me active, keeps me involved in the game a little bit. So.
Now, were you a college athlete yourself?
I was a basketball player. I played at my high school, and then I played at Wake Forest for 4 years.
Yeah. I want to get back to local matters with you later, but I want to turn to Kelly. Your story is equally interesting. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Born in Ohio, Cleveland, Akron, Canton area, and then my family transferred down to Winston-Salem. So really grew up as a Carolina girl.
You're really a North Carolinian.
I am a Carolina girl, yeah through and through. Left there and went to not NC State, but Carolina, UNC Carolina for a little while on an athletic scholarship. I was a gymnast.
Okay.
So I was a competitive gymnast for years and years, and then left there and moved to Maryland, moved to Baltimore. And I was just a little restless in school, wanted to go and travel instead of reading about different places in the world, so I became a flight attendant for a few years.
Okay.
And that's how I met David. I was actually a flight attendant. I had transferred up to Washington National Airport, but lived in Baltimore. Met David, and it was a whole thrilling, adventurous life after that with him.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
That was we always have a difficult time with this date. 1991, is that right, hon?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
at a Halloween party, which I was co-hosting with my roommate at the time from a high school girlfriend, and who happened to know David from years ago in Winston-Salem. So she's the one that connected us.
I do know this. You're an artist.
I am an artist, yeah.
Self-trained or not so much?
I had a knack as a child, and my babysitter was an artist, and so when I came home from elementary school, I would sit and watch her for hours at the table, and she would let me use her supplies. And Mom took me into a lot of workshops during the summertime, and then eventually went to, when we lived in Bolivia, South America. I went to a art school there for several years, and then when we came back to the United States, I formally studied art for a second degree, and that was studio art with a concentration in painting. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And that's much of what you do today.
Yes, it is.
You have an art gallery. Tell us about that.
I opened the K.D. Morris Art Gallery in 2010. Didn't know if it would survive in Holden Beach. I mean, Holden Beach is so small and quaint that I just didn't know if they would really embrace an art gallery.
How'd you find your way to Holden Beach?
Well, Bolivia, South America, is landlocked. It's in the heart of South America. So we missed the water.
Sure.
Just missed the water, and it was always dry and dusty there. So we pretty much agreed that when we returned to the United States, that we wanted to be by water.
Now, that's the reason
And
so many
we
of us
came
are
back
here.
to our home state and discovered Holden Beach.
Yeah. Your business is not only an art gallery, but a gathering place for the community, and you have other wares that you sell there. Am I right?
It is, yeah. When I originally opened, it was just my own artwork, just 2 little rooms, and it grew very organically. I had artists come out of the woodwork, basically, and want to show their work there. So it went from about 2 or 3 artists to now about 32 to 35, depending upon who's just productive during the season.
And they're all local artists.
Pretty much local, regional. We
Yeah.
do have some mountain artists, and then some from South Carolina and one from Florida. Just
Where
to
do you
fill a
find the
niche.
hours in the day?
That's a great question.
I'm going to ask David that too.
Yeah.
Both of you have such interesting lives. David, tell us about what you're doing here at Holden Beach. I know of your massage business.
Yeah, I'm a massage therapist. There's a little space behind Kelly's art gallery and wine shop. She didn't mention that she sells wine as well.
Right.
There's a little place back there called the breathing space where we have yoga classes. And I also have a massage space there. So I do massage there. I also go to people's homes and work out of a couple of spas too in the local area. In addition to that, like I said, I do a lot of refereeing, just kind of whatever sports in season. Also have a part-time position at St. Brendan Catholic Church.
Tell us about that for just a moment.
I work with the adult faith formation groups. We've got just some excellent folks there who do the teaching, but I try to help organize it a little bit. I attend as many of the events as I possibly can.
What does adult faith formation mean? Help us out.
It's basically a Christian education program. We've got an older group at St. Brendan, but they're very, very alive and very full of faith, and they want to grow in their faith.
Sure.
So we provide some ways for that to happen. Some beautiful faith sharing experiences happen there on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I want to turn to Kelly a moment because I saw a word I wasn't familiar with. It's called Zentangle.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
Yeah, Zentangle is sort of it's a new trend right now.
Okay.
You know the adult coloring books with all the
Sure.
designs and the paisley and all of that.
Yeah.
It's basically learning to create some of those designs yourself, but because it's repetitive, you learn one little step at a time, and because it's repetitive, it's meditative. And so it's very calming. And that's why it's Zentangle, but you're creating what's called a tangle, which is the design, just the name of the design. So it's Zentangle. It's a meditative art.
Okay. Something new for me.
Yeah. It's new for a lot of people around here. I've had it
Where do you
described a lot.
find time? Do the two of you cross paths on a daily basis?
Yeah, actually we
Morning,
spend quite a bit of
afternoon,
time
evening?
together. We sort of marvel at that a lot of times. You know, Wednesday afternoon, we both have a block of time together maybe, and you know, it's the middle of the work week and we are connecting, which is beautiful.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Friday nights at your place.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It's become the sensation, the big sensation in Holden Beach. Originally, we brought wine into the shop just because it worked well with art. People who collect art tend to like a little bit of wine, and it just made it a little less intimidating to come into an art gallery. There was another pool, another draw. So we started selling wine and creating the wine tastings, and people came. Started off with about 10 people when I first opened, and now we have, June, July, sometimes we'll have upwards around 100 people that will come for the night. And I think it's just a need for uncomplicated, positive space, creating community. There's something
Right.
to do. It's not a bar scene. You're not sitting in a bar,
Right.
but you can walk around and look at the artwork and chat with people, leave when you want, come as late as you want. It's just a 2-hour period that's just good space.
It's a gathering space for the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great, yeah. Let's remind our viewers that December 15th is your last one of the
That's
season.
right, the last hurrah.
Until next spring, of course.
That's right. So our season is pretty much the first day of spring, which is March 21st, 20th, 21st, to the first day of winter.
Right.
And that's our season. So then we shut down for a couple of months, take a break. I paint. That's my studio time. That's when I become 100% artist.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
And I paint. We do repairs to the gallery if we need to the walls, repaint, and then allow artists to create new work to bring in for the next season.
Let's stay with the Holden Beach theme. What's so special about Holden Beach? I might have my answer, but I want to hear your answers.
Go ahead.
I think Holden Beach just has a really nice energy. It's got a small town feel to it.
Absolutely.
It's a little less rushed. You hear people talk about when they cross that bridge and see the ocean, they just sort of take a deep breath. And I think that's a good metaphor for Holden Beach. It's a place where you really can just breathe and just be and get away from the clutter and the rat race. That's what I love about it. It's just a place to be.
The seasons change and the numbers change dramatically, but Holden Beach seems to stay the same month after month and year after year.
I think people work pretty hard also to keep Holden Beach small and quaint without the big buildup of some of the towns around us. And I think this day and age, especially with just the fast pace and the digital era and everything is right now, Holden Beach just takes you back to a place of just being still and breathe in the fresh air and just slow down.
You said that so well. You guys have a great story about how you met and your wedding story.
Yeah, well, we met at a Halloween party, which I mentioned before, but at the time we were working at a Catholic worker soup kitchen down in the inner city of Baltimore. Pretty tough neighborhood.
Right.
And when we decided that we were going to get married, we decided we'd have the wedding there and invite the guests that we served, in addition to our friends and family. So it was quite a unique gathering of folks as we got married there in the inner city of Baltimore.
That's absolutely awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, we've had a lot of folks say it was the neatest wedding they've been to.
Yeah,
but
I bet.
Definitely different.
Yeah. Kelly and David, I've enjoyed getting to know you a little bit here today and look forward to getting to know you better. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
It's a great
Enjoyed
story.
it.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you for watching Our Hometown. If you have a story that you'd like to tell, please email us at atmctv.com. So tune in again next month as we explore more of our hometown.
Stay connected with your community channel. Like ATMC TV on Facebook today.
Pet education is a 5-week program. We enter the school once a week for 5 weeks to teach the children, all 4th grade students, about the responsibility of pet ownership, about compassion for animals, and about safety around animals.
Let's hear everybody. I can be an advocate for animals.
The community grant received from ATMC is critical to development and running of the pet education program in Brunswick County 4th grade classrooms. Without funds from the ATMC grant, this program could not go to new schools. We could not continue the program in existing schools. Children get something from this program that they're not getting right now. They get a social development. We teach things aside from the animal. It's not all about the animal. but we teach it around the love and companionship and respect of animals. ATMC's involvement means they're putting money back into their community and make it a better place for us all to live.